The meeting room smelled like old metal, and something else Rebecca Stone could not identify. She sat across from three aliens who looked at her like she was a lost puppy. The one in the middle, a tall creature with purple skin and too many eyes, pushed a datapad toward her. "Your species assessment is complete," the alien said. Its voice sounded like gravel in a blender. "Humans are classified as Class 4 protected species. Prey category, mid-tier." Rebecca felt her jaw tighten. She had spent 6 months on this station, talking to these creatures, trying to make them understand. Humans were not prey. They were explorers, builders, survivors, but every time she tried to explain, they just nodded and smiled like she was a child making up stories. "We are not prey," Rebecca said slowly. "We are omnivores. We have been to space. We have survived wars, plagues, and disasters. We built ships that can cross galaxies." The purple alien looked at the other two. They made a sound that might have been laughter. "Many species build ships, Rebecca Stone. That does not make them predators. You have no claws, no venom, no natural armor. Your young are weak and helpless for years. These are prey characteristics." Rebecca wanted to punch the table, but she kept her hand still. This was diplomacy. This was humanity's chance to join the Galactic Coalition, a group of 47 different alien species who controlled this part of space. Without them, humans would be alone. With them, humans could trade, learn, and grow, but not as prey. Never as prey. "I request a review," Rebecca said. "Denied," the alien replied without emotion. "The assessment is final. You should be grateful. Class 4 status means you receive protection. Many species would celebrate this honor." The meeting ended. Rebecca walked through the station's long corridors, past aliens of every shape and size. Some walked on 2 legs, others on 4 or 6. Some flew, some slithered. None of them looked at her with respect. They looked at her with pity. Back on the human ship, she called Earth. The transmission took 20 minutes to reach home and 20 minutes for the response to come back. When the president's face appeared on the screen, Rebecca could see the frustration there too. "They will not change their minds," Rebecca said. "We are officially prey in their eyes." The president rubbed his temples. "Can we refuse to join? Then we are alone. No trade, no protection, no access to their jump gate network. It would take us 300 years to reach the nearest habitable world without their gates. With them, it takes 3 days. So we accept the insult?" Rebecca nodded slowly. "For now, we accept it and we prove them wrong later." The colony ship Perseverance left Earth 6 weeks after that conversation. It carried 3,000 people, supplies for 5 years, and enough hope to fill a solar system. The destination was a world the aliens called Refuge 9, a green planet with breathable air and no intelligent life. The aliens had given it to humanity as a gift. A place to grow, a place to prove themselves. Dr. Henry Wade stood in the cargo bay of the Perseverance and watched the containers being loaded. Food, tools, medical supplies, seeds, livestock, and weapons. The weapons were supposed to be secret. The aliens did not think prey needed weapons. But humans knew better. "Humans always knew better, Uncle Henry," a small voice said. He turned and saw Lucy. She was 7 years old, small for her age, with dark hair and curious eyes. Her parents had died during the journey, some virus that the medical team could not stop in time. Now she was his responsibility, his niece. "His family? Yes, Lucy. Are we really going to live on another planet?" "We are." "Will there be other kids?" 400 of them, Lucy smiled. That smile made everything worth it. The long journey, the cold sleep, the uncertainty. Children were the future. They were why humanity kept pushing forward. The Perseverance landed on Refuge 9 3 months later. The planet was beautiful. Blue skies, green forests, and purple oceans. The air smelled clean. The settlers built their homes quickly, using prefab structures and local materials. Within 6 weeks, New Terra looked like a real colony. Houses, schools, farms, and a small spaceport. Commander Rolth arrived in the 7th week. He was Dral, one of the predator species that ran the coalition military. He stood 8 feet tall, covered in dark green scales with yellow eyes that saw everything. His teeth were like knives. His claws could tear through steel. He walked through New Terra with 4 soldiers behind him. The humans stopped working and watched. Children hid behind their parents. Rolth smiled, showing all those terrible teeth. "I am your protector," he announced. "The coalition has assigned me to oversee this colony, to ensure your safety." Dr. Wade stepped forward. We appreciate the gesture, Commander, but we can protect ourselves. Ralph looked down at him. Can you? What will you do when the storm predators come in winter? What will you do when the ground shakes? You are prey, Dr. Wade. There is no shame in needing protection. Henry wanted to argue, but he saw Rebecca shake her head slightly. Not now, not yet. Over the next month, Ralph visited often. He watched the humans work. He watched the children play. His yellow eyes followed them everywhere. One day, he stopped in front of the school. Lucy was outside, drawing in the dirt with a stick. She looked up and saw him. Hello, she said simply. Ralph stared at her for a long time. Then he smiled that terrible smile and walked away. That night, Henry could not sleep. Something felt wrong. Something felt dangerous. He stood by Lucy's bed and watched her sleep, her small chest rising and falling with each breath. He did not know that in his office, Ralph was filing paperwork with the Coalition. Legal paperwork. Ancient paperwork, the kind that would change everything. The document arrived at dawn. A mechanical drone flew down from orbit and landed in front of the Colony Administration building. Dr. Henry Wade was eating breakfast when his assistant ran in, her face pale. You need to see this, she whispered. Henry took the datapad and started reading. The words made no sense at first. Then they made terrible sense. His hand started shaking. The datapad fell onto the table. No, he said. No, the document was official. It had seals from the Galactic Coalition Council, stamps from the Enforcement Bureau, and signatures from 6 different species representatives. At the top, in letters that seemed to burn into his eyes, were the words, Culling Rights Claim. Below that, a name, Lucy Chen, age 7, human, status, approved. Henry ran to the communications center. He called Rebecca Stone, who was still on the orbital station. Her face appeared on the screen, already streaked with tears. You have seen it, she said. It was not a question. What is this? What are culling rights? Rebecca took a shaky breath. It is an old law, ancient, before humans joined the Coalition. Predator species have the right to claim juvenile prey species for hunting purposes. It is considered an honor, a ritual. Other species accept it as part of their culture. Accept it? Henry felt like he was drowning. They let predators hunt their children? They receive compensation, money, resources, and the practice is supposedly quick, painless. The predator claims the child, takes them to a designated hunting ground, and she could not finish. Lucy, Henry said. His voice broke on her name. He wants to hunt Lucy. Commander Ralph filed the claim 8 days ago. I only found out this morning. I tried to stop it. I called every lawyer, every official, every species representative who might listen. They all said the same thing. The claim is legal. It has been approved. We signed the Coalition Treaty. We agreed to follow Coalition law. Henry felt rage rising in his chest like a fire. I did not agree to this. Nobody asked me if aliens could hunt our children. The treaty was thousands of pages long. This was buried in Section 4012. Cultural traditions and rights. We missed it, then we fight it. Rebecca shook her head. I already tried. There is no appeal process. The law is absolute. In 72 hours, Commander Roth will come for Lucy. He will take her to the northern forest. He will give her a 10-minute head start. Then he will hunt her. Henry stood up so fast his chair fell over. Contact Earth, contact the President. Contact everyone. I already did. They are sending lawyers, but the nearest coalition court is 3 months away by jump gate. Lucy does not have 3 months. She has 3 days. Henry ended the call and walked outside. The colony was waking up. People were heading to work. Children were going to school. Lucy was probably having breakfast right now. Probably eating those terrible synthetic eggs she loved. Probably talking about the flowers she wanted to plant in the garden. She did not know. She had no idea what was coming. Henry walked to the school and found her in the classroom, sitting with other children. She waved when she saw him. He waved back and tried to smile, but his face felt frozen. The teacher, a young woman named Beth, came over. Is everything all right? No, Henry said. Lock the school. Do not let anyone in, no one except humans. Beth saw his face and did not argue. What is happening? Just do it, please. Word spread through the colony like wildfire. By noon, everyone knew. Parents pulled their children from school. Men and women gathered in the town square. Someone brought out the weapons from the hidden storage. Rifles, pistols, things that were definitely not supposed to be in a prey species colony. Commander Rolth arrived in the afternoon with his 4 soldiers. He walked into the square and stopped. 200 humans stood between him and the school. Every single one was armed. "This is illegal," Rolth said calmly. "Prey species are not permitted weapons." "Neither are predators supposed to hunt children," Henry said. He stood at the front of the crowd, holding a rifle he barely knew how to use. "You are not taking her." Rolth tilted his head, confused. "I have legal claim. The coalition has approved it. This is not negotiable." "Then negotiate with this," someone shouted, raising their weapon. Rolth's soldiers reached for their own weapons, but Rolth raised his hand, stopping them. "I do not understand your reaction. This is an honor. I chose a human child. This elevates your species. Other prey species celebrate when their young are selected. We are not other species," Henry said through clenched teeth. "We are humans, and you will not touch Lucy. In 3 days I will return, with more soldiers if necessary. The law is clear. Interference with culling rights is punishable by orbital sanctions. Your entire colony could be destroyed." Rolth turned and walked away. His soldiers followed. The humans watched them go, weapons still raised. That night, Henry sent a message to Earth, not through official channels, not through diplomats or politicians. He sent it on every frequency, every channel, every network humans used across space. The message was simple. "They have taken one of our children." 4 words that changed everything. On Earth, the message arrived during a session of Parliament. The Prime Minister read it aloud. The room went silent. Then someone stood up. Then another. Then everyone. The vote was unanimous. On Mars, the message played on every screen. Work stopped. People gathered in the streets. The governor declared a state of emergency and mobilized the militia. On Luna, the message reached the military academy. 3,000 cadets stood at attention as their commander read it to them. When he finished, they began chanting. One word over and over, "No." Throughout human space, on stations and ships and colonies, the reaction was the same. Fury. Pure, burning fury. Admiral Patricia Hayes was in her quarters on the carrier Defiance when the message reached her. She was 50 years old, gray-haired, tough as iron. She had 3 children of her own back on Earth. She read the message twice, then walked to the bridge. "All hands, battle stations," she said quietly. "Navigation, plot a jump to Refuge 9. Communications, send recall orders to every human military vessel in this sector. Engineering, I want jump capability in 30 minutes. Her second officer stared at her. "Admiral, we do not have authorization for—" "Do I look like I care about authorization?" Patricia's voice was cold as space. "Something just threatened a human child. We are going to educate them about what happens when you do that." Within 6 hours, 47 human warships were in jump space, heading toward New Terra. Within 12 hours, Earth's entire reserve fleet was mobilizing. Within 24 hours, every human colony was arming itself. The galaxy noticed. Coalition sensors picked up the human fleet movements. Reports flooded into the council chambers. Analysts tried to understand what was happening. Prey species did not mobilize their militaries. Prey species did not threaten war, but humans did, because something ancient and terrible was waking up in humanity. Something the galaxy had never seen, something they had never imagined prey could possess, the will to protect their young at any cost. The classroom had become a fortress. Parents took turns guarding the doors. Someone brought blast shields from the mining equipment. Someone else rigged up motion sensors. Lucy sat inside with 20 other children, playing games and drawing pictures, unaware that the adults outside were preparing for war. Dr. Henry Wade had not slept in 2 days. His eyes were red and his hands shook from too much caffeine, but he refused to leave his post at the school entrance. Behind him, 200 colonists stood ready. They had mining lasers, construction tools modified into weapons, and exactly 43 actual firearms that were definitely illegal. Rebecca Stone arrived from orbit on the 2nd day. Her shuttle landed in the colony square and she ran straight to Henry. "The fleet is coming," she said breathlessly. "Our fleet. 47 warships. They will be here in 18 hours. Henry felt something loosen in his chest. "How did you—" "I did not do anything. Earth did, Mars did. Every human world did. When your message got out, everything changed." She looked around at the armed colonists. They are calling it the Honey Badger Protocol. The what? There was an animal on Earth, small, fierce, absolutely fearless. It would fight anything to protect its territory. Someone in the military named the emergency response plan after it. When human children are threatened, we stop being diplomats. We stop being peaceful. We become honey badgers. Commander Roth did not come alone on the third day. He brought 200 Drow soldiers in full combat armor. Their transport ships landed outside the colony, kicking up dust and ash. They formed ranks, weapons ready, and marched toward New Terra. The colonists tightened their grips on their weapons. Henry stepped forward to meet Ralph halfway between the school and the landing zone. "Leave," Henry said simply. "Leave now and never come back." Ralph looked past him at the school. "My claim is legal. I will collect what is mine. She is not yours. She will never be yours. This is foolishness. You cannot fight us. Your weapons are primitive. Your people are untrained. We are Droll. We are apex predators. We have conquered 73 worlds." Henry smiled, and it was not a kind smile. "Then we will be number 74 that you tried and failed to conquer. The difference is we are not fighting for territory or resources. We are fighting for a child. Our child. And there is nothing in this galaxy more dangerous than a human protecting their young." Ralph raised his hand. His soldiers raised their weapons. The colonists raised theirs. 200 against 200. Prey against predator. Then the sky opened up. 47 human warships dropped out of jump space directly above New Terra. They were not pretty ships like the Coalition vessels with their sleek curves and elegant designs. Human ships looked like flying bricks, all angles and armor and weapons. They had names painted on their hulls: Defiance, Retribution, Fury, Vengeance. The lead ship, the carrier Defiance, broke atmosphere with a sound like thunder. It descended until it hovered 200 feet above the colony, blotting out the sun. Its weapons were locked onto the Droll transport ships. A voice boomed from the Defiance's speakers, amplified so everyone could hear. "This is Admiral Patricia Hayes of the Human Colonial Fleet. Droll forces, you have 30 seconds to withdraw from the colony, or we will open fire." Ralph looked up at the massive ship. "You would not dare. The Coalition is not here, we are." 29 seconds, Ralph activated his communicator. "This is Commander Ralph to Coalition Enforcement. I need immediate support at Refuge 9. The humans are..." 20 seconds. In orbit, 15 Coalition warships appeared. They were bigger than the human ships, more advanced, with energy shields and weapons that could glass a planet. They formed a blockade pattern around the human fleet. The Coalition commander opened a channel that everyone could hear. "Human vessels, stand down. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Any hostile action will be met with overwhelming force." Patricia Hayes sat in her command chair, perfectly calm. Her crew waited for orders. Her weapons officer had his hand on the firing controls. Every human ship was ready. "This is Admiral Hayes to all Coalition vessels," she said slowly. "You have a choice. Leave now or be destroyed. We did not come here to negotiate. We came here to take back our child. Nothing you do will stop us." The Coalition commander laughed. "Your bravado is amusing but futile. Our ships have energy shields. Our weapons can destroy yours before you fire a single shot. This is your last warning." Patricia looked at her weapons officer. "Target their flagship. Full spread. Railguns and missiles." The weapons officer hesitated. "Admiral, they are right. Their shields, I know exactly what their shields can do. I also know what our railguns can do. Fire." The Defiance fired. Not just one shot, but 20. Solid metal slugs accelerated to 40% the speed of light. They hit the Coalition flagship's shields and went right through them like they were paper. The shields were designed to stop energy weapons, lasers, and plasma. They had never been tested against simple kinetic weapons moving at relativistic speeds. The first railgun slug punched through the flagship's shields, through its armor, through its engines, and out the other side. The ship died instantly. The other slugs hit other Coalition vessels. 3 exploded. 2 more went dark, spinning lifelessly in space. The entire battle lasted 47 seconds. The remaining Coalition ships did not fire back. They jumped away, fleeing to safety. They had come expecting prey. They had found something else entirely. On the ground, Ralph stared at the sky. His soldiers lowered their weapons. The transport ships began powering up for emergency liftoff. Patricia's voice came over the speakers again. "Ground forces, you have 60 seconds to board your ships and leave orbit." After that, we start shooting your ships and you can walk home." Ralph looked at Henry one last time. "The Council will hear of this. You have started a war." "No," Henry said quietly. "You started it when you tried to take our child. We are just finishing it." The Droll soldiers retreated to their ships. The ships launched and jumped away. Within 5 minutes, every hostile force had left the system. The colonists cheered. They hugged each other. Some cried. Henry walked into the school and found Lucy. She was playing with blocks, completely unaware that humanity had just declared war on the galaxy to save her. "Uncle Henry," she said, looking up, "why is everyone so loud?" He picked her up and held her tight. "Because we love you, Lucy. Because you are worth fighting for." In orbit, Admiral Patricia Hayes opened a channel to the entire Galactic Coalition network. Every species heard her message. Every world, every station, every ship. "This is Admiral Patricia Hayes of Earth," she said. Her voice was cold and clear. "You tried to take one of our children. You claimed it was legal. You said it was an honor. You were wrong. Human children are not prey. They are not trophies. They are not yours. If anyone anywhere ever threatens a human child again, we will come for you. We will burn your fleets. We will shatter your stations. We will show you what humans really are. We are not prey. We are the honey badger, and we do not forgive. We do not forget. And we never ever stop protecting our young." She ended the transmission. The galaxy had been warned. The Galactic Coalition Council Chamber had stood for 3,000 years. It was a massive sphere where representatives from 47 species gathered to make laws, settle disputes, and maintain peace. Today, that peace was dying. High Chancellor Vorn stood at the center podium, his forearms gesturing wildly as he tried to restore order. Around him, species representatives shouted at each other in dozens of languages. The translation system struggled to keep up. "The humans attacked Coalition vessels," screamed the Droll ambassador. His scales flushed dark red with anger. "This is an act of war. We demand immediate sanctions." "You tried to hunt their child," shouted back the Minari representative, a small furred creature who rarely spoke above a whisper. "What did you expect would happen? The claim was legal." The Droll slammed his claws on his desk. "We followed proper procedure. The law is clear." High Chancellor Vorn activated the silence field. Sound died in the chamber. Everyone stopped shouting, but their mouths kept moving, gesturing, arguing silently. He waited until they calmed down, then deactivated the field. "Order," he said firmly. "We will have order. Now let us review what happened." Commander Ralph filed a legal culling claim. The claim was approved through proper channels. The humans responded with military force, destroyed 7 coalition vessels, and issued threats against the entire coalition. "Is this summary accurate?" The Droll ambassador nodded. "Completely accurate. The humans are dangerous. They must be expelled from the coalition immediately." Rebecca Stone stood up in the human section. She was the only human in the chamber. Every eye turned to her. Some looked at her with fear, some with curiosity, some with something that might have been respect. "Permission to speak, Chancellor." Vorn nodded. "Granted." Rebecca walked to the center floor. She moved slowly, deliberately. When she spoke, her voice carried to every corner of the chamber. "You are correct that Commander Ralph followed your laws. What you failed to mention is that those laws are barbaric. They are evil. They are wrong." The Droll ambassador stood up. "You dare sit down," Rebecca said coldly. "You had your chance to speak. Now it is mine." Vorn raised a hand, stopping the Droll. "Continue, Ambassador Stone." Rebecca looked around the chamber. "When humans first applied to join the coalition, we were honest about who we are. We told you about our history. We told you about our wars. We explained that we can be violent, aggressive, territorial. Do you remember what you told us? You said those traits made us prey. You said true predators are disciplined, controlled, civilized. You said we were too emotional, too irrational." She paused. "You were half right. We are emotional. We are irrational. But that is not weakness. That is our strength. Because when someone threatens our children, we do not think about laws or procedures or consequences. We think about one thing: protecting our young at any cost." The Minari representative spoke up. "The culling rites have existed for 2,000 years. 23 species participate in them. It is tradition." "Tradition does not make something right," Rebecca replied. "Slavery was tradition on Earth for thousands of years. We ended it. Torture was tradition. We ended it. Treating women as property was tradition. We ended it. We have spent our entire history identifying evil traditions and destroying them. Your culling rights are next. You cannot simply declare our laws evil, High Chancellor Vorn said carefully. The coalition operates on consensus, on respect for different cultures. Rebecca smiled bitterly. Then let me explain human culture to you. On Earth, there is a phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. Do you know what that means? It means every child belongs to all of us. Every child is our responsibility. When one is threatened, all humans respond. Not because we are programmed to, not because of laws, because we choose to, because that is what makes us human. She pulled out a data pad and held it up. This is a list of human military assets currently mobilizing: 1,200 warships, 400,000 soldiers, 6 million tons of ammunition. Every human colony has activated emergency protocols. Earth has recalled all civilians from coalition space. We are preparing for total war. The chamber erupted again. Vorn activated the silence field, but Rebecca kept talking, her voice cutting through somehow. You think this is about one child? It is about every child. You think this is about one law? It is about every law that lets the strong prey on the weak. You built a civilization on violence and called it order. We will tear it down and build something better. She turned to the Droll ambassador. Your people are warriors. I respect that. But there is a difference between warrior and predator. Warriors fight other warriors. Predators hunt the helpless. Which one are you? The Droll ambassador said nothing. Vorn deactivated the silence field. Ambassador Stone, you are threatening the entire coalition. Do you understand the consequences? We have 10,000 warships, hundreds of worlds, populations in the trillions. Humanity numbers only 28 billion across 17 colonies. You cannot win this war. You are right, Rebecca said quietly. We cannot win, but we do not need to win. We just need to make it cost more than you are willing to pay. We will destroy every ship you send. We will fortify every human world. We will turn our colonies into fortresses. And every time you kill a human, 1,000 more will take up weapons. We will fight you for years, decades, centuries. We will never surrender. Because that is what you do when someone tries to hurt your children. You fight until you win or until you die. There is no middle ground. The chamber was silent now. Every representative was thinking the same thing. Could they really afford this war? Could they fight an enemy that would never stop, never negotiate, never accept defeat? The Minari representative stood up. She was small, barely 3 feet tall, but her voice carried weight. I move that the council suspend culling rights pending full review. Seconded, said another voice. Then another, then 5 more. The Droll ambassador's scales went pale. You cannot be serious. This is our culture, our tradition. Traditions change, said the Minari, or they die. I prefer change. High Chancellor Vorn looked around the chamber. All in favor of suspending culling rights immediately? Hands, claws, tentacles, and appendages rose throughout the chamber. 16 species voted yes. 20 voted no. 11 abstained. The motion fails, Vorn announced. Culling rights remain in effect. Rebecca nodded slowly. Then we are at war. She turned to leave, but Vorn called out. Wait, there is another option. The coalition can grant humans special exception status. Your species would be exempt from culling rights. Other species would remain subject to current law. Rebecca stopped. You would protect human children but not others? It is the compromise we can offer. No. Rebecca's voice was flat. All children or no deal. Every species. Every child. No exceptions. That is not realistic. Then we fight. Rebecca walked toward the exit. You have 72 hours to change that law. After that, every coalition military vessel in human space will be considered hostile. Every coalition station will be asked to evacuate. Any that refuse will be destroyed. We gave you a chance at peace. You chose to protect tradition instead of children. Live with that choice. She left the chamber. Behind her, the arguing began again, louder and angrier than before. But something had changed. For the first time in 2,000 years, species that had always accepted culling rights were questioning them. The Minari pulled their delegation out of the session. 3 other prey species followed. The coalition was fracturing. High Chancellor Vorn watched it happen and felt a cold certainty in his heart. The humans had been right. This was not about one child. It was about the foundation of coalition civilization. And that foundation was cracking. In 72 hours, everything would change. One way or another. Across the galaxy, species were making choices, hard choices, the kind that would define their future. On the Minari homeworld, the Council of Elders gathered in their ancient meeting grove. The trees around them were 5,000 years old, older than the Galactic Coalition itself. Elder Sana, the oldest living Minari, spoke first. For generations we have sent our children to the predators. We told ourselves it was honor. We told ourselves it was necessary for peace. We told ourselves lies. Her voice cracked. The humans have shown us what we refuse to see. It was never honor. It was surrender. It was cowardice. What are you proposing? Asked another elder. Alliance with the humans. Full military alliance. Let the predators know that if they want our children, they will have to go through Earth first. The vote was unanimous. On the Dral homeworld, war leader Krath watched the military preparations with growing unease. His people had ruled the coalition military for 800 years. They had never lost a war, but they had never fought an enemy like this. Status report, he ordered. 2,000 warships ready for deployment. Another 5,000 within a week. Ground forces mobilizing on 12 worlds. The humans have 800 ships, maybe 1,000. We outnumber them 3-1. Krath studied the tactical displays. And morale? His aide hesitated. Mixed. Some warriors are eager to fight. Others are asking questions. What questions? Whether we should be fighting for the right to hunt children. Krath closed his eyes. There it was. The crack in the foundation. Warriors could fight for territory, for resources, for honor, but fighting to kill children? That was something else. Something that felt wrong even to Dral. Increase the fleet to 5,000 ships, Krath ordered. If we are doing this, we overwhelm them quickly. We do not give them time to rally support. But in his hearts, Krath wondered if they had already lost. On New Terra, Admiral Patricia Hayes walked through the colony. Everywhere she looked, she saw determination. Parents armed with whatever they could find. Teenagers training with rifles. Even the elderly were learning to operate defensive systems. She found Dr. Henry Wade at the school, where Lucy and the other children were being taught in an underground bunker now. How is she? Patricia asked. She thinks this is all an adventure. She drew a picture of your ship. Said it looks like a flying castle. Henry smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. She has no idea that the entire galaxy is about to go to war over her. It is not just over her. It is over the principle, over the idea that children should be protected, not hunted. Patricia sat down on a bench. I have 3 kids back on Earth, 2 daughters and a son. When I heard what they tried to do to Lucy, I saw my children's faces. Every human in the fleet feels the same way. Can we win? Patricia was quiet for a long moment. In a straight fight? No, they have more ships, better shields, energy weapons that can glass planets. But we have 2 advantages. First, we are fighting for something that matters. They are fighting for a tradition most of them do not really believe in anymore. Second, we are unpredictable. They think they understand warfare. They have rules, protocols, honor codes. We will ignore all of that. We will fight dirty. We will use tactics they never considered because they are too civilized to think of them. Kamikaze attacks, Henry said quietly. Patricia nodded. If necessary. We will ram ships into their stations. We will use our own vessels as weapons. We will do things that horrify them. Because at the end of the day, they are fighting for tradition. We are fighting for children, and there is nothing a parent will not do to save their child. In the Coalition Command Center, High Chancellor Vorn received reports from every sector. What he read made his blood cold. 16 species had declared neutrality, refusing to provide ships or support. 8 species had withdrawn from Coalition space entirely, recalling their citizens. 4 species, all prey races, had declared support for the humans. Not military support yet, but political support. Public statements saying the humans were right. The coalition was falling apart. His aide brought another report. Chancellor, the Dral fleet is moving toward Earth. 5,000 ships. War leader Krath is commanding personally. What is Earth's response? They have activated every defense platform, every orbital station, every ship in their home system. They are calling up civilian vessels and arming them. They estimate they can field 2,000 ships to defend Earth. Vorn did the math. 5,000 against 2,000. The humans would be destroyed. But the cost to the Dral would be enormous. Hundreds of ships lost. Thousands of warriors dead. And for what? To preserve the right to hunt children? Open a channel to Ambassador Stone, Vorn ordered. Rebecca's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired but determined. Behind her, Vorn could see preparations for war. People moving equipment, ships launching, weapons being loaded. Chancellor, she said coldly. Ambassador, I am asking you to reconsider. The Droll fleet is moving toward Earth. You will be destroyed. Then we will die defending our children. Better that than living as cowards. There must be a compromise. There is. End culling rights for all species. Protect all children. That is the only compromise we will accept. The Council will never agree. Too many species see it as tradition. Rebecca leaned forward. Then let me tell you what happens next, Chancellor. The Droll attack Earth. We destroy half their fleet before we fall. Our colonies see Earth burning and they go mad with grief. They launch suicide attacks against every coalition target they can find. Other prey species see us fighting and join in. The coalition tears itself apart. The war lasts years. Millions die. And at the end, when the dust settles and you count the bodies, you will realize that all of this happened because you refused to protect children. Vorn said nothing. What could he say? She was right. You have 48 hours, Rebecca said. After that, the shooting starts. Choose wisely, Chancellor. History will remember what you do next. The screen went dark. Vorn sat in silence for a long time. Then he activated his personal communicator and sent a message to every council member. Emergency session. Mandatory attendance. Final vote. All children or civil war. Those were the choices. In his private chambers, Commander Ralph sat alone. He had started all of this. He had filed the claim for the human child. He had thought it would be simple. A young prey creature, a quick hunt honor for his clan. Instead, he had triggered a galactic crisis. His door chimed. War leader Krath entered without waiting for permission. You are relieved of command, Krath said bluntly. You are to return to the homeworld and await judgment. For what crime? I followed the law. The law is not the question. Your judgment is. You chose to test a species we did not understand. You poked a sleeping predator and it woke up angry. Now thousands of Droll warriors will die cleaning up your mess. Ralph stood up. Predator? They are prey. The classification was wrong. Krath's voice was harsh. I have reviewed human history. Do you know what they do to their criminals? To people who hurt children? They lock them in cages for life. Sometimes they execute them. Their entire civilization is built around protecting the young at any cost. And you thought you could hunt their child as sport? The council approved. The council are politicians. They see papers and procedures. I am a warrior. I see threats. And the humans are the greatest threat we have ever faced because they are willing to die for their young. Every last one of them. That is not prey behavior, Rolf. That is apex predator behavior. The most dangerous kind because it is driven by love, not hunger. Krath turned to leave, then stopped. When this is over, if we survive, the culling rights will be gone. The humans will see to that, and maybe that is for the best. Maybe we have been predators for too long. Maybe it is time to learn what it means to be protectors instead. He left Rolf alone with his thoughts and his mistakes. The countdown continued. 48 hours to choose peace or war. The council chamber had never been so full. Every species sent their representatives. Even those who had declared neutrality came to watch. The gallery above held journalists from 100 worlds. This vote would change the galaxy forever. High Chancellor Vorn stood at the central podium. His forearms were perfectly still, a sign of his deep stress. Around him, species representatives waited in tense silence. We gather today to vote on Emergency Resolution 7743, Vorn began. The complete abolition of culling rights across all coalition species and territory. Before we vote, I open the floor for final statements. The Droll ambassador stood immediately. This is madness. We are allowing one species, one emotional species, to destroy a tradition that has existed for 2 millennia. If we bend to their threats, what is next? Will we change every law that offends someone? Where does it end? The Minari representative stood next. Her voice was soft but clear. It ends with protecting children. That is where it ends. That is where it should always have ended. My people have sent 412 children to the hunts over the last 1,000 years. We told ourselves it was honor. We told ourselves it was necessary. The humans showed us we were wrong. They showed us what real courage looks like, not accepting cruelty but standing against it. Another species representative rose. But the humans threatened war. They destroyed coalition vessels. Should we reward violence with policy changes? Rebecca Stone stood in the human section. She had not slept in 3 days. Her uniform was wrinkled and her eyes were red. But her voice was steady. You are right. We used violence. We used threats. We did things that prey species are not supposed to do. Do you know why? Because sometimes the only way to stop evil is to stand against it with force. Your laws protected predators. Your traditions celebrated cruelty. We could have been diplomatic. We could have filed appeals and waited years for courts to decide. While the child died. So yes, we chose violence. We chose to say no. And we would do it again. She walked to the center floor. But this vote is not about humans. It is about every child in the galaxy. It is about the Minari children who will never be hunted again. It is about the Torlan young who will grow up safe. It is about building a civilization based on protecting the vulnerable, not sacrificing them to tradition. We did not ask to be the ones to force this change. But someone had to. And if that makes us the villains in your story, we accept that, as long as the children are safe. High Chancellor Vorn nodded slowly. Are there any other statements? War Leader Krath stood. The entire chamber turned to look at him. The Draal had started this crisis. What would they say now? I am a warrior, Krath said simply. I have fought in 37 battles. I have killed enemies of the Coalition without hesitation. I am not soft. I am not weak. But I am also a father. I have 3 children. And I looked at them last night and imagined someone hunting them, imagined someone claiming that right is legal, is honorable, and I felt sick. He looked around the chamber. The humans are right. This tradition is evil. It always was. We just refused to see it. We called it honor, but it was murder. We called it ritual, but it was cruelty. The humans had the courage to say what we all should have said generations ago. This ends now. The Draal ambassador stared at Krath in shock. A warrior, a war leader turning against their own tradition? Krath continued. I vote yes. My people may hate me for it. My clan may disown me, but I will look my children in their eyes tonight and tell them that their father chose to protect the young. Even if it meant abandoning the old ways, that is a legacy I can accept. He sat down. The chamber was utterly silent. Vorn activated the voting system. All representatives cast your votes now. All in favor of abolishing culling rights across all coalition territory and species. Lights began appearing on the voting board. Green for yes, red for no, yellow for abstain. The Minari voted green, the Torlan voted green, the Pilik voted green, the Draal ambassador voted red, but 3 other Draal representatives voted green. More lights appeared. Green, green, yellow, green, red, green. The counting took 2 minutes. Those 2 minutes felt like hours. Finally, the results appeared on the main screen. Yes, 34 species. No, 11 species. Abstain, 2 species. High Chancellor Vorn read the results aloud. By majority vote of the Galactic Coalition Council, Emergency Resolution 7743 is hereby passed. Culling rights are abolished effective immediately. Any species or individual engaging in such practices will face criminal prosecution. All existing claims are void. The chamber erupted. Some species cheered. Others protested. The Draal delegation walked out. But it did not matter. The law had changed. On Earth, billions watched the vote on screens and holo projectors. When the results came through, cities erupted in celebration. People danced in the streets. Parents held their children and cried with relief. On New Terra, Dr. Henry Wade walked into the underground bunker where Lucy was playing. She looked up from her drawings. Uncle Henry! Look, I drew the nice lady's ship again. Henry knelt down and hugged her tightly. You are safe now, Lucy, you are safe. I was always safe, Lucy said, confused. You were here. Henry laughed and cried at the same time. Yes, I was. Admiral Patricia Hayes stood on the bridge of the Defiance and watched the Coalition fleet withdraw, 5,000 ships turning away from Earth. The battle that would have destroyed millions of lives would never happen. Stand down to alert status, she ordered. Recall fighter wings. Maintain defensive positions until the Coalition fleet is out of the system. Her second officer approached. Admiral, message from Earth. The President wants to award the entire fleet the Medal of Valor. Patricia shook her head. We do not need medals. We did what any parent would do. We protected our children. Months passed. The galaxy adjusted to the new laws. Some species struggled with the change. Others embraced it quickly, but slowly something shifted. Species that had always accepted predator dominance began questioning other traditions, other laws, other assumptions. The Minari established the first multi-species school where predator and prey children learned together. The Torlan started a foundation to help young creatures who had survived trauma. Even some Droll began training as child protection officers. Humanity's role in the coalition changed. They were no longer classified as prey. The new classification was unique, protected protectors. Species that would defend others even at cost to themselves. Rebecca Stone became the coalition's first human council member. Her first act was proposing the Juvenile Protection Act, expanding protections for all young creatures across coalition space. It passed unanimously. Commander Routh was tried and convicted of attempted murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. In his cell, he spent his days trying to understand how he had been so wrong, how he had mistaken murder for honor. War leader Krath became the Droll representative to the new Juvenile Protection Force, a coalition-wide organization dedicated to child safety. He worked alongside humans, learning their ways, understanding their fierce devotion to protecting the young. High Chancellor Vorn retired shortly after the vote. His replacement was younger, more progressive, more willing to question old traditions. The coalition was changing, slowly but changing. 10 years after that terrible day, Lucy turned 17. She stood in line with 200 other young people applying to join the Juvenile Protection Force. The recruiter was a human woman, tough and scarred, who had fought at the Battle of New Terra. "Why do you want to join?" the recruiter asked Lucy. Lucy thought about it. She still did not fully understand what had happened when she was 7. She knew there had been danger. She knew Uncle Henry and others had protected her. She knew that laws had changed because of her. "Someone tried to hurt me once," Lucy said simply. "Lots of people stopped them. I want to be someone who stops people like that. I want to make sure no child ever has to be afraid like I was." The recruiter smiled. "Accepted. Report for training next month." That night, Lucy visited Uncle Henry at his home. He was older now, gray-haired, but his eyes still lit up when he saw her. "I got in," she said. Henry hugged her. "I am proud of you. Your parents would be proud too." "Uncle Henry? Why did those aliens want to hurt me?" He was quiet for a moment. "Because their tradition told them it was acceptable. Because they had always done it and never questioned whether it was right. But you stopped them. Humanity stopped them. All of us, because that is what we do. We protect children, not just human children. All children. It is who we are." Lucy looked out the window at the stars. Up there, millions of young creatures were growing up safe because humans had said no. Because humans had drawn a line and refused to let it be crossed. "I am glad I am human," Lucy said softly. "So am I," Henry replied. "So am I." The galaxy had learned an important lesson that day 10 years ago. Some species are defined by their teeth or claws or venom. Others are defined by their technology or wealth or territory. But humanity was defined by a simple principle: protect the young at any cost. They were not the strongest species. They were not the smartest or fastest or most advanced. But they were the species that would burn down the galaxy to save a single child. And that made them the most dangerous species of all. Not because they loved to fight, but because they knew what was worth fighting for.